Jesus' resurrection is a true historical fact.
I thought we had a friend.
Jesus' resurrection is a historical fact. It's been documented. We have the 500 eyewitness accounts. We also have the guards that saw the angel roll the tomb away. We also have, again, extra biblical resources where people are talking about the Christians worshiping a resurrected king.
The most compelling evidence is the empty tomb. When you actually look at the details surrounding it, it becomes much more significant. You have to understand that Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem and then buried in Jerusalem. Jerusalem at the time was roughly about 290 acres. To conceptualize that, I'm from Houston. You can fit like 5 Jerusalems in Hobby Airport, and this is a small airport. Jerusalem's probably the size of a small neighborhood. And so this is where he was killed and buried. This is also where Christianity essentially started. So when you think about it in those terms, we know where he was buried. It's not an unmarked tomb. The Bible tells us he was buried in the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. But this is also the place where the disciples go and start preaching about a resurrected king. It would make no sense for me to start in this super small town where somebody can just say, let's end this whole man's career, roll the tomb back, let's see that he's still in there. But they didn't. They're preaching in this area, and it adds credence to their message because obviously the Jewish leaders hated Jesus. They crucified him. They had a lot of incentive to roll back the tomb, but they didn't. They said things like, oh no, the disciples stole his body. So the empty tomb is extremely compelling to me because if I were going to be a conspirator and create this whole thing like worship Jesus, I'm going to Africa because nobody's going to be able to fact check me, but I'm not going to stay in the place that he was resurrected and where his tomb is.
If Jesus really resurrected, then why didn't he show himself to everyone? Why not the Romans, the people who plotted to kill him, everyone? Why didn't he make a large public appearance like he did before his death?
The Roman got evidence of Jesus' resurrection because they literally saw the angel roll the tomb away. And also, Jesus says in Matthew 12, he says, a wicked and detestable generation ask for a sign. Why does he say this? Because he spends almost the entirety of the Gospels giving people signs. He's healing people. He raises Lazarus from the dead. He's making the blind see. He heals the man at the pool of Bethesda. And still, it's not enough. And on top of it not being enough, when the miracles are happening, the Pharisees tell him that he's a sorcerer or this is coming from somewhere else. And Jesus literally says to them, don't blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Why does he say that? Because it's by the Spirit of God, by the Father, by himself that he's able to enact these miracles. So the reality is you have to do something with the fact that Jesus gave us plenty of signs. He gave us many miracles and people denied them.
Just like in Luke when you brought up Lazarus, Jesus answers this question directly. When he's telling the story of the poor man Lazarus and the rich man's in the tomb. He's speaking to Abraham. Abraham, just please go let Lazarus tell my brothers, my family, that you're real so that they don't have to experience this torment. And Abraham says to him, they have Moses and the prophets. So they wouldn't believe even if Lazarus rose from the dead. That's Jesus saying, even if they saw me, they would not believe.